established rich coming right back at you. And today we're going to talk about a situation that started as business, but now it's turned into a conversation about credit, reality, and influence. This is about Boosie and DJ Vlad. And more specifically, it's about the claim that Boosie was responsible for making the black community accept Vlad. Now, I've already said in previous interviews that Boosie did help Vlad during a time in the culture when a lot of people didn't trust him. And I'm not walking that back right now. But helping somebody and being responsible for their entire success is two different things. And that's where this conversation starts to get out of balance.
Video dropping, part 1 of my interview dropping on Patreon tomorrow. I need all my fans to support it. But for the fake fans, let me check y'all for feeling like I've done Vlad something wrong. First of all, I'm the one made y'all like Vlad. All the black community was against Vlad. He's a rat. He sends people to jail. People die after his interviews. All this. I the one made y'all accept him. First it was, Boosie, he talk over you in an interview. I hate Vlad. Everybody go on this thing. Why does he ask questions that send people to prison? What I used to do, I stood up every time. No, they send themselves to prison. So the whole black community, everywhere I went, they was Vlad hate, Vlad hate. Everywhere I go, why do you mess with him? He is a culture vulture, all this. It was all this about Vlad. I made you guys accept Vlad. I steady went on his podcast and made you guys accept him. He sent people to jail. No, they send themselves to jail. Why does he ask questions? I don't know. All I know is he's not what y'all shaping him up to be.
You can clearly hear Boosie framing himself as the reason for Vlad's success. And he's not just defending himself against critics. He's making a much bigger claim about his impact. And this is where I have to slow this down and separate fact from feelings. Because there is truth in what he's saying. But it's also a lot of cap in it too. Yes, Boosie stood next to Vlad when people were calling him a culture vulture. And that matters in a culture where cosigns can shift perception. But that does not mean he single-handedly made an entire community start watching a platform that was already growing, already constant, and already building its own audience over time. And this is where we have to give credit where credit is due without overreacting. Because Vlad has been operating in this system for over a decade. And he has a strategy that goes far beyond having one guest. That includes production, editing, distribution, relationships, and the type of consistency most people don't see if they just watching the final video. Now let's be real about something else that people don't like to say out loud, because it don't sound as good as the narrative. Those Vlad interviews didn't just help Vlad. They helped Boosie too. They kept him in the conversation. They kept him visible. And they gave him a platform to speak directly to an audience that was engaging and growing. So this idea that one side was doing all the favoring and the other side was doing all the receiving, that don't hold up when you look at it honestly. Now here's where the situation gets a little more interesting, because Boosie is addressing everybody around this situation except Vlad himself. He talking to DJ Envy, he responding to academics, and he even speaking directly to the black community. But he has not directly addressed Vlad in the same way. And that creates a gap in the conversation. Because if this is really about business and credit, then the most important voice in that discussion should be the person on the other side of the deal. But instead, the conversation is happening around Vlad, not with Vlad. And that leaves room for interpretation.
But the whole black community, even the rappers, you know what I mean? The rappers caught me and say, man, why that white boy, man? Why, bro? When he do all this, why, Boosie? He's the same up now. We're going to VladTV interview. So remember the hate you had for him. I made you accept him. Boosie, I made you accept him. Everybody was negative. Corona time. Everybody. This was everything, every vlog, every site I went to. Boosie, why do you with him? Why do you do this? Why do you do this? I made y'all accept him. Street niggas at first did not want to go on Vlad TV. But Boosie doing it, so that makes it okay for them to do it. So realize that when y'all say this and that, like I've done, no, man. I stood up for this dude a million times, bro. When the whole industry was calling him the police, this, that, he's this. Y'all was making him out to be such a bad person. I made you accept him. I made you still with him. Remember that.
Coming back from that, you can hear the frustration in Boosie's voice. And you can also hear the confidence. But confidence don't always equal accuracy. Because when you start saying you are the entire reason a community accepted something, you're no longer just defending yourself. You rewriting the scale of your impact. And that's where people start pushing back. Not because they don't respect what you did, but because they know it's not that simple. The black community is not a single switch that one person can turn on and off. And it definitely don't move off one voice alone, no matter how loud that voice is. Now let me address something else he brought up, because this is important and it's honest. I watched the clip of Boosie doing his own interviews, and it ain't had the same feel. And that's not a shot. That's just an observation. That's just chemistry. Because what people don't understand is certain dynamics only work because of the people involved and how they interact with each other. Boosie and Vlad had a certain back and forth, a certain timing, and a certain balance that made those interviews feel natural, even when they were controversial. When you try to recreate that by yourself, it don't always translate the same way. Not because you lack value, but because the formula has changed. And that's what you're seeing right now. A shift from a duo dynamic to a solo format that don't hit with the same energy. Now, this don't mean Boosie can't build his own platform, because he absolutely can, and he has the personality and the fans to do it. But building something from scratch is different from being a part of something that was already built and functioning. And that's the part that gets lost when people start talking about credit without talking about infrastructure. Because infrastructure is what sustains success, not just individual moments or viral clips. So when I look at this whole situation, I don't see a villain or a hero. I see two people who benefited from each other and reached a point where their business no longer made sense. And that happens all the time in business. But it becomes a problem when one side starts expanding their role in a way that doesn't match reality. You can say you helped, you can say you contributed, and you can even say you were important during a certain time. But when you say you were the reason for everything, that's where people start checking the math. And when they check that math, they're going to include the years of work, the system behind the platform, and the fact that success like that don't come from one person alone. So my position on this is simple and fair, because it don't lean too far in either direction. Boosie helped Vlad gain trust with a certain type of audience, but Vlad built and maintained a platform that was going to succeed with or without Boosie. And when you put those two truths together, you get the real story, not the extreme version that people like to argue about online. Because reality is usually somewhere in the middle, and that's where this situation lives. But hey, that's just my opinion. What's yours? Like, comment, subscribe. Established Rich. I'll be back with another one. Peace.